when I accidentally caught sight of Xu Qing and Zhu Rui in a corner downstairs from the 16th floor. I was surprised to find that I didn't feel as bad as I had imagined. I guess I'd long suspected this day would come. I pulled out my phone and called Xu Qing. The tiny figure downstairs took out his phone from his pocket. I watched his movements through the glass, confirming I hadn't mistaken him for someone else. Before he could answer, or rather, before he could hang up on me, I ended the call. And he didn't call back. The apartment was pitch black. Xu Qing had probably gone to bed long ago. He never waited up for me anyway. I tiredly slipped off my high heels and was about to sit on the sofa when I paused at the balcony. A red dot glowed conspicuously on the dark balcony. A slender figure leaned against the railing. Xu Qing was smoking there. "Why are you back so late?" His voice was a bit hoarse, probably from smoking too much. "Overtime," I replied briefly, not letting my gaze linger on him as I walked over to sit on the sofa. "Why didn't you text me?" Xu Qing walked in from the balcony, bringing with him a faint smell of tobacco. I frowned slightly and instinctively shifted to the far end of the sofa, away from him. I was too busy. Forgot. At my words, Xu Qing suddenly stopped in his tracks, seemingly lost in thought. After a long moment, he put out his cigarette and sat on the sofa next to me. "You've been coming home late." "Quite often lately." "Yeah. The law firm took on a big case. Everyone's been busy recently. You don't have to work so hard, you know." "Then you support me?" I joked casually, never expecting his affirmative reply. "You could come work at my company. Do something simple and easy. I'll pay you double what you're making now." If this were a few years ago, I would never have believed Xu Qing could say something like that. The company he had now, he built it with his own hands, pouring all his effort and sweat into growing it from a small startup to what it is today. No one valued its development more than him. He'd even turned down relatives who wanted jobs there. So, right after I graduated, I knew better than to ask him for help. "No thanks. I really like my current job." I got up from the sofa, stretched, and my stomach growled loudly. "You didn't eat dinner?" He frowned slightly and took out his phone. "I'll order takeout." "Don't bother. There are still frozen dumplings in the fridge." As I said this, something occurred to me. "Did you eat tonight?" "I'm not hungry." Ever since we started living together, he'd gotten used to me taking care of him. On nights when he didn't have social engagements, if I worked late or came home late, he just wouldn't eat, waiting for me to cook. It was rare for us to eat together, and even rarer that we sat in silence. After finishing a bowl of dumplings, I sighed contentedly and was about to clear the table when he stood up first. "I'll clean up." I glanced at him, surprised. "Okay." I was in the bedroom looking for clothes to change into for my shower when I heard the sound of breaking glass in the kitchen. My heart skipped a beat. I tossed the clothes on the bed and went to the kitchen. Xu Qing stood there helplessly, staring at the broken bowl on the floor. I looked down. It was my favorite bowl, the one with the red heart. That red heart bowl and its blue heart bowl partner were a pair. I'd bought them on our first anniversary together. Back then, Xu Qing had stubbornly refused to use such childish bowls. But since I did all the cooking at home, he'd eventually accepted them. Now that the red bowl was broken, it felt oddly fitting, a reflection of my mood. I crouched down to pick up the pieces. Xu Qing, seeing I wasn't speaking, stood there like a reprimanded child. "Ningning, I'm sorry. An apology? I'll buy an exact replacement tomorrow. It's just a bowl. Don't worry about it. I know you loved that red bowl. He looked at me cautiously. "I don't like it anymore. A bowl doesn't matter." I stood up and glanced at the remaining blue bowl in the sink. "Just wash the rest of the dishes clean." Just as I was drifting off to sleep, the bedroom door creaked open slightly, then closed again. He paused, then tucked the blanket around me. "Go to sleep." I dreamed about my university days, when I first met Xu Qing. Back then, Xu Qing was sunny, handsome, a scholarship student in finance, captain of the basketball team. Wherever he went, girls would chase after him and cheer. Back then, in my eyes, Xu Qing practically glowed. For my pay elective in university, I chose tennis. The tennis courts were right next to the basketball courts. He looked at the ball rolling to his feet, squinted as he looked around, and finally fixed his gaze on me. "Did you hit me?" "I'm so sorry, Senior Sue." I panicked and apologized profusely. I didn't mean to. Ha. He looked me up and down, snorting disdainfully. Boring trick. His words confused me. What? Without another word, he kicked the tennis ball right back at me. Towering over me, he looked down and said, "We're even." The ball stung a little when it hit me. I yelped softly and watched his back as he walked away. Was that his idea of revenge? The second time I saw Xu Qing was at the campus shuttle bus stop. He seemed to have forgotten his campus card and had no change on him. Hey, lend me a yuan. He seemed a bit embarrassed, his tone awkward. I looked at the shuttle bus that had just arrived. Are you taking the bus? I don't have change either. But if you're taking it, I can swipe my campus card for you. So, I swiped my card for Xu Qing, and we rode the bus together. Do you have your phone? He suddenly asked. Add me on WeChat. Huh? He seemed a bit impatient. My wallet and phone got stolen. Add me, and I'll transfer the money back later. No. I quickly waved my hand. A yuan isn't worth the trouble. I don't like owing people. He stopped looking at me and closed his eyes to rest. From then on, I often scrolled through Xu Qing's moments. He seemed to change girlfriends often until a girl named Zhu Rui appeared. He must have really liked Zhu Rui. His moments were filled with photos of them eating delicious food, traveling together, playing games together. Around the same time, I happened to pass by a food stall near campus and saw a drunk Xu Qing. He looked like he'd fallen over by the roadside. There was blood on his wrist, and he was clutching his phone tightly, muttering, "Why don't you want me?" I glanced discreetly at his still-lit screen. It showed 22 calls made to Zhu Rui. Not one had been answered. When he woke up the next day and saw me, he was clearly surprised. So he remembered me. I was a little happy, but he just snorted casually. You really are persistent. You should be grateful I brought you to the hospital, ... I mumbled quietly. What? He didn't catch it and seemed a bit annoyed. How much was the hospital bill? You tracking my movements couldn't just be about getting me to the hospital, right? When did I ever track? But someone as determined as you. Following me around, that's a first. I was speechless. For a moment, I didn't know how to explain. Calling it a coincidence seemed too deliberate. He looked tired and closed his eyes, murmuring, "You like me, right? You want to be with me?" Fine. I agree. The next morning, Xu Qing was still asleep. I went downstairs as usual to buy soy milk, fried dough sticks, and his favorite soup dumplings. I left them on the table and hurried off to work. Sister Zhang, a gorgeous woman, specifically asked for you. Says she's your schoolmate. The receptionist, Feng Dandan, pointed towards the lounge. I followed her gaze. It was Zhu Rui. In university, I'd felt I wasn't as pretty as Zhu Rui, not as academically accomplished. Because Xu Qing liked her, I'd sunk into deep inferiority. It wasn't until I achieved some success at work these past 2 years that I finally stepped out of her shadow. Jiang Ning, long time no see. Zhu Rui set down her coffee cup and stood up, extending her hand. I shook her hand politely, flattering her. The receptionist said a beautiful woman was looking for me. I was wondering who it could be. So it's Senior Zhu Rui. The compliment landed well. She smiled and sat back down. Come to think of it, it's been 3 or 4 years. Little Jiang here is now an excellent lawyer in the industry. Not at all. You studied abroad in the US and returned accomplished. I'm certainly far from your level. I smiled slightly. What brings Senior Zhu Rui to see me? Just a small matter. She pulled a document from her bag. My ex-husband and I have a dispute over the division of marital property. I'd like to ask little Jiang lawyer for some help. Senior Zhu Rui, my fees are quite high. That's only right. She crossed her right leg over her left, folded her hands on her knee, and smiled at me. The best law firm in the city, the most promising lawyer in the best firm, high fees are justified. You flatter me, Senior Zhu Rui. I picked up the document. We'll stay in touch then. But she didn't seem ready to leave. She picked up her coffee cup again and took a sip. Little Jiang, that's not the only reason I came. What else, Senior Zhu Rui? I remembered seeing them from the 16th floor yesterday, so her question didn't surprise me. He's fine. Is that so? Zhu Rui set down her coffee. Tell me, little Jiang, can someone live well with a person they don't love? I felt a pulse throbbing in my forehead. I maintained my smile. You'd have to ask Xu Qing that yourself. True. Zhu Rui stood up, patted my shoulder, her beautiful eyes not really looking at me. I'll leave my matter in your hands then. You're telling me Zhu Rui's divorce case came to you? Fang Li stared at me in shock. You took her case? No reason to turn down money. I looked at the table full of food without much appetite, and simply put down my chopsticks. She's obviously coming after you. Why you, of all the lawyers in T-City? And why did she have to ask how Xu Qing was doing? Fang Li slapped the table angrily. Isn't she just telling you she's single now and coming to take your man? The sound of Fang Li's slap immediately drew attention from nearby customers. What are you going to do? Nothing special. Jiang Ning. Fang Li's voice rose. You're just going to watch Xu Qing get taken away. I took a deep breath and slowly began. Li, maybe I don't love Xu Qing that much anymore. What did you say? Fang Li's eyes went wide. I'd believe Deng Chao and Sun Li getting divorced before I'd believe you don't love him anymore. I find it hard to believe too. I used to love him so much, but falling out of love seemed to happen in an instant. But gradually, I realized I no longer looked forward to his calls or messages. I buried my face in my hands. Li, I'm so tired. Ningning. Fang Li's tone suddenly turned serious. You've been together 5 years. A relationship lasting that long isn't easy. I've seen how much you've loved him all these years. If you really break up, would you be able to let go? And now with Zhu Rui lurking around, maybe you're just tired of him after being together so long. It'll pass. Haven't you always wanted to go to Paris? How about we take a trip in a while, relax a bit? Before I could finish talking with Fang Li, my phone rang urgently. I picked it up an unfamiliar number. I hung up instinctively, but it rang again within seconds. Frowning, I answered. It turned out to be one of Xu Qing's friends. Hey, sis-in-law, it's me. Ji Yu Zhao's voice came through. Ji Zhao? Why you? Qing Zhe drank too much. I thought about letting him crash at my place, but he insisted on going home to find you. I don't know your address, and he can't speak clearly, only gave me your number. Ji Yu Zhao sounded helpless. Sis-in-law, come take him away, quick. By the time I got Xu Qing home, it was nearly dawn. He threw up twice. With great effort, I managed to change his clothes and wipe his face, finally getting him into bed. But the culprit was still causing trouble, mumbling about wanting water. When I brought water to his lips, the words he unconsciously muttered made me freeze. Zhu Rui's back. What do I do? Again, Zhu Rui. I put down the cup. Deciding he didn't deserve it, I left the bedroom and curled up on the living room sofa, remembering what Fang Li had said. If we really broke up, could I let go? But were all these years I'd given worth it? If Zhu Rui really came back to be with Xu Qing, what could I do? I buried my face in my knees. I'd broken up with Xu Qing before, but we'd gotten back together. Not long after Xu Qing and I got together, his graduation season arrived. Xu Qing took me to his class reunion. I just never expected to see Zhu Rui there. Though I'd only seen her in photos, I recognized her instantly in the dim KTV room. Sitting beside her, with a hand on her shoulder, was a guy whose looks weren't inferior to Xu Qing's. Xu Qing beside me was clearly startled too. Then he gripped my hand tighter and pulled me into the room. Everyone started playing Truth or Dare. When the bottle pointed at me, I chose Truth. Xu Qing's roommate asked slyly, Sis-in-law, who pursued who? The question put me in a difficult spot. Technically, neither of us had pursued the other. What's there to hide? Xu Qing's face flickered in and out of shadow under the lights. I couldn't read his expression. Just tell the truth. Strictly speaking, I'd liked Xu Qing first. So I said, I pursued him. The room erupted in cheers and teasing. Lucky bastard. Xu Qing's face instantly darkened. The woman in his arms was Xu Qing's ex. I was his current girlfriend. And when he said, not a bad girlfriend, who was he referring to? First kiss, first overnight stay. Xu Qing and I hadn't done any of that, so naturally I couldn't answer. Xu Qing drank cup after cup on my behalf. Even after the bottle stopped pointing at me, Xu Qing kept drinking. It dawned on me then maybe he wasn't drinking for me. Maybe he wanted to drink himself. Soon after, Xu Qing, having drunk too much, needed the restroom. I helped him to the door. He fumbled in his pocket for a cigarette, but couldn't find a lighter. so I went out to buy one. I never expected on my way back to hear Xu Qing and Zhu Rui's voices from the stall closest to the women's restroom. Just because he's the party secretary's son and can guarantee you grad school admission, you just throw me away like that. Xu Qing's voice trembled slightly. Zhu Rui, is my love really that worthless to you? Xu Qing, we're both poor students. Staying in the big city isn't easy. For me, nothing's more important than my future. Besides, Zhu Rui said with a light scoff, you don't love me that much either. You found a girlfriend, haven't you? Fake ... It's all fake. She's just someone I used to make you jealous. I didn't think you wouldn't care at all. Xu Qing's voice choked up, almost tearful. I love you, Zhu Rui. I only love you ... Double quotes. Xu Qing. I love you too ... I'm sorry. Neither spoke for a while after that. Just heavy breathing and panting. They were probably kissing. Though I'd known since we got together that Xu Qing didn't like me much. Hearing the truth still made my whole body tremble. Not long after, Zhu Rui and Xu Qing emerged together from the restroom. Zhu Rui glanced at me, then walked past without meeting my eyes. Xu Qing looked somewhat uncomfortable. Did you get the lighter? I nodded, shoved the lighter into his hand, and turned to leave. Jiang Ning, he called after me. I didn't turn. He came around to face me, frowning. You heard all that? I clenched my fists, nails digging into my palms, unsure how to answer. After a moment, I decided on honesty. I heard. His expression soured. He was silent for a while, then said, Don't tell anyone. Xu Qing. I looked up at him. Was everything you said true? Was I just a tool to test whether she cared? Xu Qing stared into my eyes for a long moment, finally showing guilt and embarrassment. Jiang Ning, I'm sorry. 3 months after Xu Qing and I broke up, on a rainy night, I suddenly got a call from him. By the time I braved the rain with an umbrella to the bar entrance, Xu Qing was already soaked through. He looked up. I saw his eyes red and swollen, as if he'd been crying. His voice was low and hoarse. He said, Jiang Ning, Zhu Rui got married. I'm going to forget her. Let's start over. My period cramps were so severe I took half a day off to rest at home. I was dozing off when I heard the living room door open. Then soon after, a bedroom door, and footsteps approaching. Ningning, what's wrong? Have a fever? A slightly urgent voice sounded near my ear, followed by a warm hand on my forehead. Why are you back at this hour? Forgot the company seal. Came to get it. He took off his jacket, tossed it on the bed and sat beside me, worry evident in his eyes. What's wrong? Where does it hurt? Don't you need to go to the company? Nothing urgent. But through the crack in the door, I could see him hanging up one call after another. After drinking the ginger tea, I fell asleep again. When I woke, it was already dark. The warm drink had eased the pain. I got up to find something to eat in the kitchen, but discovered Xu Qing asleep, slumped over nearby. The movement of getting up woke him. He rubbed his eyes. Hungry? I made porridge. It's kept warm. By the time I'd finished a whole bowl of porridge, I still couldn't quite get used to this change, Xu Qing. Everything seemed reversed. I used to take care of him, but lately he'd started taking care of me. Xu Qing's phone rang again. He hung up once more. I rubbed my temples. Go ahead. I'm fine by myself. Xu Qing looked at me, then at the missed calls on his phone. With a slightly guilty expression, he ruffled my hair. Sorry. He hurriedly put on his jacket to leave, pausing at the door. Don't wash the dishes. Leave them. I'll do it when I'm back. Don't touch cold water. After I finished washing the dishes anyway, I noticed Xu Qing's company seal still on the coffee table forgotten. Remembering how anxious he'd looked, probably needing it urgently for a contract, I sighed. Despite telling myself I didn't care about him anymore, I softened at the thought of him making a wasted trip. I put on my coat and decided to bring the seal to his company. The boss left early this afternoon. I was startled. He didn't come back just now. Zhao Wang looked at me blankly. No. He didn't return to the company. I held up the company seal and handed it to Zhao Wang. He forgot this at home. Give it to him when he gets here. Leaving the building, I was about to cross the street when I looked up and saw, across the road, Xu Qing walking out of a cafe, with Zhu Rui following close behind. Sometimes, a woman's intuition is truly remarkable. Zhu Rui reached for Xu Qing's hand. He shook her off firmly. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried clearly across the street. Do you really think I, Xu Qing, would want a divorced woman? Zhu Rui, what makes you think so? But you don't love her, do you? Zhu Rui persisted, taking his hand again. Xu Qing, all these years I've never forgotten you. Let go. Xu Qing shook her off again, snorting mockingly. Zhu Rui, what do you take me for? A backup. Xu Qing walked to the crosswalk to wait for the light. Why won't you believe that I still love you? Xu Qing stiffened but didn't pull his sleeve away this time. The red light ended. The green light came on. Xu Qing looked up and unexpectedly saw me standing across the street. Panic flickered in his eyes. The last time I'd seen that look was back when he and Zhu Rui had broken up. Instinctively, he pulled his hand from Zhu Rui's and strode towards me. Why are you here? I smiled. You forgot your company seal. I brought it to your office. What are you doing here with Senior Zhu? Xu Qing rubbed his nose awkwardly. Just passing by. Caught up a bit. Zhu Rui followed behind him. Seeing me, she greeted me naturally. Little Jen, how's my case coming along? Xu Qing frowned, looking at Zhu Rui. You gave your divorce case to Jiang Ning? I haven't been back in T-City long. Naturally, I turned to an acquaintance. Besides, I trust little Jiang. Zhu Rui looked at me. Isn't that right, little Jiang? I nodded. I'll naturally do my utmost with Senior Zhu Rui's case. A breeze blew. I pulled my coat tighter. Xu Qing took my hand and frowned at the coldness in my fingers. So cold. Why didn't you wear more going out? I was in a hurry. I'll head back now. I smiled at both of them. You two take your time chatting. Wait. Xu Qing took off his jacket and draped it over me. I'm going back with you. I sat in the passenger seat of Xu Qing's car, eyes closed, resting. Classical instrumental music played softly. Whether from the chill earlier or something else, the cramps that had subsided began aching faintly again. Xu Qing noticed. Left hand on the wheel, he reached over with his right to hold mine. Cramps again. Thinking of Zhu Rui holding that same hand, I instinctively pulled away. Just focus on driving. Eyes closed, I couldn't see his expression. After a long moment, I heard his somewhat low voice. Ningning, I feel like you've changed. The pain grew sharper. Frowning, I couldn't be bothered to respond. Seeing my discomfort, he sped up. Hold on. We'll be home soon. Xu Qing rummaged through cabinets, found me painkillers, and fetched a hot water bottle for my stomach. After taking the medicine, the pain gradually subsided. That traditional Chinese doctor near our neighborhood. I quickly closed my eyes, pretending to sleep. Xu Qing lifted the blanket, slipped in, and pulled me into his arms. Xu Qing's body was like a natural furnace. In winters past, I'd loved burrowing into his arms, pressing my cold hands against his stomach. He used to complain but gradually got used to it. His hand gently massaged my lower abdomen, stroke after stroke. I don't know how long passed before I heard him sigh softly. You're angry, aren't you? I know you must be mad at me. His movements slowly stopped. I opened my eyes. Xu Qing was asleep. I used to love secretly watching him after he fell asleep, tracing the contours of his face with my fingers, then stealthily stealing a kiss on his lips. And now, Xu Qing was still Xu Qing. His profile was still as handsome as ever, but I no longer felt the way I once did. When I got up the next morning, Xu Qing was already gone. It was rare for him to wake up before me. And surprisingly, there was even my usual breakfast of fried dough sticks and soy milk on the table. The case at the law firm finally wrapped up, and I picked up the documents Zhu Rui had given me to study carefully. I knew her ex-husband was the son of our former school's party secretary, but the joint property to be divided in the divorce still shocked me. I counted on my fingers an 8-figure fortune. I couldn't earn that much in a lifetime, even if I never ate or drank. So she was coming to Xu Qing with her ex-husband's money. For a moment, I almost wished I was Xu Qing. Who would turn down that kind of money? Just as my thoughts were wandering, my phone buzzed. It was Zhu Rui. Little Jiang, how's my case coming along? Let's meet and chat. No sooner had I hung up with Zhu Rui than Xu Qing called. He seemed in a good mood, his tone light. Lao Ye Jiang, working late again tonight? Come home early. I have something for you. I have plans with Zhu Rui tonight. He paused for 2 seconds. Zhu Rui is meeting with you. My tone was flat. She's my client. It's normal for us to meet. Xu Qing's tone turned irritable. Ningning, whatever she says to you, don't listen. Don't believe it. Xu Qing, is there something you're hiding from me? I rubbed my temples. Ningning, it's not what you think. I can explain. His voice was urgent. But I hadn't said anything yet, and he was already rushing to explain. A wave of irritation rose from within. I hung up on Xu Qing. 5 seconds later, he called back. I simply turned off my phone. At 7 p.m., I met Zhu Rui at the coffee shop across from Xu Qing's company. I got straight to the point. Senior Zhu Rui, your divorce case isn't difficult. As long as you weren't the at-fault party in the marriage, getting you that 8-figure marital property won't be a problem. I know. That's not why I asked you here today. Zhu Rui looked at me with an ambiguous smile. My eyebrow twitched. Then Senior is here to talk about Xu Qing. I always like talking to smart people. Her face held an expression of confident certainty. Jiang Ning, we've known each other for years. You should know Xu Qing loves me. It's just that I've been abroad all these years, so he found you to stay by his side in my place. Now, I'm back. Zhu Rui paused, looking at me challengingly. It's time for you to step aside. Senior Zhu Rui, you're talking to the wrong person. If this is what you want to discuss, just go directly to Xu Qing. I gave a cold laugh, meeting her eyes directly. If Xu Qing really still loved you, why would you go to all this trouble to let me see the two of you together from the 16th floor of my firm? Why give this divorce case to me? If he really loved you as much as you say. I paused, staring her down. Then he'd just break up with me directly. Why would you be here wasting your breath with me? She seemed caught off guard by my words. A flicker of surprise in her eyes before she recovered. It seems time really does change a person. You used to be that little girl following Xu Qing around. Now, it seems I've underestimated you. Senior Zhu, I'm very busy. I don't have time to play your love games. I stood up, looking down at her. If Xu Qing really loves you as much as you say, then please both of you get out of my sight. If he doesn't love you, please have some self-respect. No wonder you're a lawyer. Such a sharp tongue. She wasn't angered by my words, standing up to meet my gaze. How about a bet? Let's see who he really loves, you or me. Boring. I gave a cold laugh and turned toward the exit. If this were years ago, when I'd just gotten together with Xu Qing, I probably wouldn't have dared to make this bet with Zhu Rui. But now, whether Xu Qing loved me or her, made no difference to me. You don't dare take this bet. Zhu Rui's mocking voice came from behind me. Because deep down, you know he doesn't love you. As I stepped out of the coffee shop, a light rain began to fall. I looked up at the overcast sky, exhaled, and in an instant, exhaustion washed over me. Suddenly, the rain above my head stopped. I opened my eyes. Xu Qing was holding an umbrella over me. Why are you here? I called, but your phone was off. Xu Qing's voice held a hint of grievance. I turned on my phone. Dozens of missed calls. All from Xu Qing. His voice was cautious. I called Zhu Rui. She said you were here. I was afraid you'd get caught in the rain, so I came to take you home. Just then, Zhu Rui walked out of the coffee shop. What now, Xu Qing? I smiled faintly. One umbrella isn't enough for 3 people. Xu Qing looked at Zhu Rui, emerging from the coffee shop, and without hesitation, walked toward her umbrella in hand. Raindrops began falling on my head again. I watched the rain-soaked street scene before me, a sense of loss washing over me. So in this love triangle I was the biggest fool of all. Behind me came Zhu Rui's delighted voice. Xu Qing, I didn't expect you to come. Here. Xu Qing shoved the umbrella into Zhu Rui's hand, then ran back toward me. Before I could react, he pulled me into his arms. The raindrops above my head vanished again. I looked up in surprise. Qing was holding his jacket over both our heads. What are you staring for? Xu Qing looked down at me. It's raining. Run. Half a month had passed since my last meeting with Zhu Rui, and I'd been on a business trip to Shanghai for half a month as well. After the final court case, I returned to my hotel from the courthouse and lay exhausted on the bed, looking at the message Xu Qing had sent me not long ago. When are you coming back? Tomorrow, he replied quickly. What time? I'll pick you up. Arriving at 4 p.m. Actually, I could have gone back today. In the past, when I traveled for work, I was always full of energy, handling everything in the shortest time possible, just to catch an earlier flight back to Xu Qing. But he'd never once looked particularly happy about it. Gradually, I stopped rushing back. Now, thinking about that city and the person in it, I just felt mentally and physically exhausted. The next day at 4 p.m., Xu Qing appeared punctually at T-City's airport. He took my luggage from me and put it in the trunk, then studied my face carefully. Have you been eating properly these past few days? You look thinner. I unconsciously touched my cheek. Really? I leaned against the car seat, staring blankly at the receding scenery outside. Xu Qing lit a cigarette. You were gone for half a month and didn't call me once. Weren't that busy? I nodded. Busy. Ningning, that's what you said last time. At a red light, Xu Qing stopped the car and turned to look at me. Really busy. Or ... double quotes before he could finish. His phone rang. Frowning, Xu Qing answered. His brow relaxed only after hearing the voice on the other end. ... just picked up your sister-in-law. She just got back from her trip. Where? ... okay. Wait there. Zhu Xiao called. Said he booked a table at Drunk South. They're waiting for us. By the time we arrived at Drunk South, everyone else was already there, just waiting for Xu Qing and me. Juju said we were late and teased us into drinking 2 penalty glasses. Xu Qing drank both mine and his in one go. Halfway through the drinks, Xu Qing was visibly tipsy. I'd been quietly eating when Ji Yuao suddenly turned the conversation to me. Sister-in-law, when are you and Qingji getting married? Xu Qing, holding a cigarette, smiled faintly. That depends on when your sister-in-law is willing to marry me. In an instant, everyone's attention turned to me. In the past, when Xu Qing and I were together, every major anniversary, I'd shake his hand and ask when he was going to marry me. He always brushed me off with, "We're still young. Career comes first. Marriage isn't on the table for now." I put down my chopsticks, wearing my standard work smile. We're still young. Career comes first. The smile that had been on Xu Qing's face vanished instantly. He stared at me expressionlessly, his gaze gradually deepening. Look at brother Liu next door, same age as Qingzhe, already has 2 kids. Qingzhe, how can you hold out? I smiled but said nothing. Xu Qing had been drinking, so I drove that night. Jiang Ning, you were away for half a month and didn't call me once. Really that busy? I hadn't expected him to bring this up. I explained blankly. I really was busy ... Always the same excuse. Then why won't you marry me? I think we ... We what? Have you forgotten that every year on your birthday, you used to wish you could marry me soon? I looked into his eyes and countered. The moment Zhu Rui appeared, you said you wanted to marry me. Are you marrying me because you love me? Or because you want revenge on Zhu Rui for abandoning you back then? He pressed his lips together, not answering. I stared into his eyes. Turbulent emotions churned within them, but he gave me no answer. After a long moment, he spoke. So this is what you think of me? Xu Qing, whenever Zhu Rui is involved, your principles just keep lowering. I looked at him and smiled. How can I marry you like this? And you? Do you still love me? He stared at me intently, desperately seeking an answer in my eyes. Does it matter? I asked flatly. In all these years by your side, when have you ever cared whether I loved you or not? Xu Qing's face darkened like ink. We sat in silence, facing each other. When I woke up, it was already noon the next day. Luckily, after half a month away, my boss had given me 2 days off to rest. I went to the kitchen looking for something to eat and found a bowl of noodles on the table, already stuck together in a clump. I looked at its appearance. As usual, terrible. I dumped the clump noodles and made myself a fresh bowl. Just as I finished eating, I heard the door slam open with a bang. The loud noise startled me. I looked at Xu Qing, who had burst in hurriedly. What's wrong? He was panting heavily, sweat beading on his forehead. His tie slightly askew like he'd run all the way up from downstairs. His gaze locked onto the birth control pills I'd left on the table. Without even changing his shoes, he rushed over and grabbed the pack I'd taken from. You don't want to have my child that badly. Xu Qing clutched the pills tightly, looking at me with wounded eyes. How did you know I bought these? Answer my question. Xu Qing was angry, his voice rising. I said sarcastically, I think Zhu Rui might be more willing to bear your child. His face instantly darkened, his intensity diminishing. Don't say things like that just to anger me. Xu Qing, all these years I've kept wondering about one thing. Have you ever loved me? I laughed bitterly at myself. I always firmly believed you didn't love me. How many times over the years have I told myself to give up on you? But I never could. But just at that moment, Zhu Rui came back, and your heart started wavering again. You can't forget your ex, but you can't let go of your current girlfriend either. Before, I longed so much to marry you. I'd finally managed to be ready to let you go, but you still won't let me go. Xu Qing. I looked into his eyes. What do you want me to do? Xu Qing's eyes dimmed. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but in the end, remained silent. Let me handle everything, and then we'll get married. Ningning, I love you. Ningning, I love you. Lying in bed thinking about those words, I felt a strange sense of time having passed, how the tables had turned. Before, I had longed, desperately even, for Xu Qing to love me. Even knowing his heart belonged to someone else, I still held on to hope, thinking that one day he'd turn around, see me here, and fall in love with me. But now that day had actually come, my heart felt remarkably calm. Over these years of working, I'd handled many divorce cases. Childhood sweethearts who grew apart, couples deeply in love who eventually couldn't stand the sight of each other, all ending up in court. Sometimes I couldn't help but wonder, what is the point of two people being together? But whichever it was, if being with someone felt exhausting, it couldn't possibly be the right answer. I was a bit surprised when I got Fang Li's call. Where? Just now, at Wonder Plaza. Ningning. Fang Li's tone carried concern. Xu Qing. He's not thinking of rekindling things with Zhu Rui, is he? Probably not. Huh? No wonder Zhu Rui's expression didn't look too good. Fang Li recalled the scene she'd just witnessed between Xu Qing and Zhu Rui. Xu Qing seemed to be scolding her about why she had to give you her divorce case. Zhu Rui was crying pitifully. I couldn't catch what she said. Just walked past them. Ningning, being together isn't easy. You and Xu Qing have been together 5 years. Fang Li sighed. Think carefully about this thing with Xu Qing. After hanging up, my tooth started aching dully. Looking in the mirror, I discovered a wisdom tooth had emerged some time back there. I passed Zhu Rui's case on to another lawyer at the firm. With Xu Qing and Zhu Rui not appearing together to annoy me, these past few days have been surprisingly relaxed. I was reviewing documents when Zhao Wang, the receptionist from Xu Qing's company, called to say Xu Qing had been rushed to the emergency room with a perforated stomach ulcer. By the time I hurried to the hospital, Xu Qing had already been wheeled out of the eye. I paid his hospitalization fees. When I'd found him collapsed near the campus food stalls and taken him to the hospital. 5 years later, he was still the one lying in the hospital bed. I was still the one watching over him. Everything seemed the same, yet everything had changed. Xu Qing hadn't woken yet. The doctor came for rounds, a man in a white mask and glasses. Not until he removed his mask and smiled at me. Jiang Ning, forgotten me already? Senior, you finished your doctorate. He put his mask back on, pointed toward the head of the bed. Your husband? My boyfriend. He nodded, said nothing more, wrote something in his notebook, then closed it. Only liquid foods for now. Have him quit smoking and drinking. Eat regular meals. I nodded. Jishan didn't say anything else. He patted my shoulder and left the ward. Come to think of it, Jishan and I did share a bit of a connection. When I first arrived at university for registration, Jishan, as a student council leader, was responsible for guiding new students. He carried my luggage for me. Later, when I fainted from low blood sugar on campus and was taken to the infirmary, he was the one who fed me glucose. And later still, when I visited my advisor's home, I discovered he was actually my advisor's son. My advisor had once tried to set us up, but because I liked Xu Qing, that never went anywhere. Though Jishan and I never became a couple, we became good friends, until he went abroad for his doctorate, and we lost touch. When I stepped out to use the restroom, Xu Qing's mother arrived. Xu Qing still hadn't woken. When I re-entered the ward, I saw her red-rimmed eyes. Auntie, you're here. Seeing me, she nodded. You're Jiang Ning, right? Xu Qing's mentioned you. I meant to invite you over, but I've been too busy. It's okay, Auntie. Good child. She came over, took my hand, and patted it. You've been here watching over him quite a while. Go home and rest. As I left the ward, I ran into Jishan coming out from rounds in another ward. Grab a bite tonight? He looked down, asking me. Sorry, an operation ran long. Jishan arrived hurriedly, tiredness evident on his face. He sat down across from me, pulled out a cigarette from his pocket, and gestured with it. Mind if I smoke one? I shook my head, watching the cigarette in his hand. What? Jishan noticed my gaze. Didn't expect me to smoke. I thought doctors didn't smoke. I looked away, smiling sheepishly. He grinned. Jiang Ning, doctors are people too. We have worries and stress sometimes. Thinking back to when I first saw him in university, I added, in my eyes, you were practically a god. Really? His smile deepened. That highly? He flicked ash from his cigarette. Then why did you reject me back then? I was startled. I hadn't expected him to bring that up. I thought Professor Jiu was just joking when he tried to set us up ... So you didn't take it seriously? Jishan raised an eyebrow. You were his student for 4 years. How are you still this dense? Huh? Dad spent his whole life teaching. He's had plenty of female students more outstanding than you. My brain completely short-circuited. Wasn't it? Jishan laughed out loud, his expression teasing. You're not very modest. I scratched my head awkwardly. Because I liked you, Jiang Ning. Jishan's gaze was calm as water. I asked my dad to help set us up. Unfortunately, Jishan shrugged. You already had someone you liked. This genuinely surprised me. You liked me? Were you so full of that guy lying in the hospital bed that you never even replied to the love letter I wrote you? You wrote me a love letter? Jishan coughed lightly, a bit awkward. Not really a love letter. Just a line of poetry. Remember when you came to my house and my dad gave you that textbook for your major? I wrote a line of poetry on the flyleaf. Jishan studied me as he spoke. Don't tell me you never looked at that book. What university student actually reads textbooks? I laughed sheepishly. He burst out laughing. Fair point. I overthought it back then, thought since you were smart and diligent, you'd actually read your books seriously. I went along with his words to ease the awkwardness. So what did you write in the book? Forgot. He smiled, blowing a smoke ring. Doesn't seem like you liked me that much then. I teased casually. You went to the US for your doctorate and never contacted me. What did you even like about me? His smile deepened. Liked that you're smart. Liked that you're diligent. Liked that you're pretty. I nearly choked on the coffee I just sipped. You're still as easy to fluster as before. Long fingers reached across, offering a tissue. I'm not saying this for any reason. Just old friends catching up. He took a drag on his cigarette and looked up at me. You've got good taste. Your boyfriend's excellent. Let me know when you get married. I'll give you a big red envelope. That night at home, remembering I still hadn't finished preparing documents for tomorrow's court session, I was rummaging through cabinets looking for references when I accidentally spotted a book on the top shelf. General Introduction to Civil Law. I fetched a stool, climbed up to get it, wiped the dust off the cover with a towel and opened to the first page. A line of forceful handwriting met my eyes. The poem Jishan had written, with his signature beside it. The paper had yellowed slightly over time. It read, On the mountain is a tree. The tree has branches. I rushed out early the next morning and didn't leave the courthouse until noon. Working late last night and waking up late today meant I'd skipped breakfast. By midday, I was ravenous. I turned my phone back on to call a taxi home and it suddenly rang. Xu Qing. He must be awake. Ningning, are you busy? Xu Qing's weak voice came through. Court just ended. I'm hungry. Xu Qing's voice held a note of petulance. I want the porridge you make. After hanging up, realizing the courthouse was too far from home to go make porridge, I simply bought some nearby and headed straight to the hospital. Not surprisingly, I ran into Jishan again. This outfit ... He looked me up and down. Quite professional. I glanced down at my court attire, a business suit, and smiled. Required for the job. Not bad. He looked at the food container in my hand. Bringing lunch for your boyfriend? I nodded. Oh, right. He adjusted his glasses, seemingly remembering something. He asked me to invite you over for a meal. When are you free? Professor Gu. I paused. It had indeed been a long time. When I first started out, I'd often go to him with problems I couldn't handle. As I grew more experienced, I gradually sought him out less. Okay, once I get through these next few days. Jishan headed back to his office. I carried the food container to the second floor. Just as I was about to push open the door, voices from inside made me stop. You love her. You say you love her. She seemed agitated, her pitch rising. I don't believe you've forgotten me. Xu Qing's voice was too low for me to make out. After a long moment, I heard Zhu Rui's cold laugh. Xu Qing, I'm not letting go that easily. Zhu Rui stormed out of the room, slamming the door hard behind her. After she left, I emerged from behind the fire door and pushed open Xu Qing's ward. Why are you back? Xu Qing's impatient voice cut off abruptly when he saw me. Ningning, you're here. When I woke up, you weren't here. His voice carried a hint of grievance. I had court today, was busy. I set the food container on the table and opened it. A rich aroma instantly filled the room. The doctor said only liquids. I ladled out a bowl of porridge and handed it to Xu Qing. You should quit smoking and drink less from now on. Hearing this, the corners of Xu Qing's mouth lifted. Okay. Xu Qing finished the last mouthful contentedly. I took the bowl from him, my gaze inadvertently catching a strand of hair on the bedside. I picked up the strand, dropped it into the trash, and asked casually, Someone came by? Xu Qing froze, instinctively turning to look at me, then shifting his gaze away unnaturally. One. The receptionist from my company. You know her? What did she come for? She just came to see how I was doing. Is that so? I packed up the food container and looked up at Xu Qing. Xu Qing, a person's love is limited. So is their patience. Once it's used up, it's gone. Not wanting to talk to him further, I tossed the container in the trash and walked out of the ward. I looked at the table laden with dishes. Sweet and sour ribs, 8 treasure rice, braised eggplant, ... I couldn't help but laugh. Professor G, why so many sweet things? Ji Shan said you're prone to low blood sugar, so I made more sweets. Professor Ji untied his apron, sat down beside Ji Shan, and pointed proudly at the freshly cooked Coca-Cola chicken wings. Try some, see if it's good. Ji Shan still remembers my low blood sugar. Hard not to, Ji Shan said, placing a chicken wing on my plate as he reminisced. I remember when the school clinic nurse was out, and I filled in for a shift. You were the first patient I saw that day. That night, riding back in Ji Shan's car, I wondered if I'd eaten too many sweets. My wisdom tooth started aching fiercely. At a red light, Ji Shan stopped the car and glanced at my grimacing face, raising an eyebrow. Old man's cooking that bad? Look at that frown. No, I covered my right cheek. Wisdom tooth hurts. Ji Shan teased. Oh, growing teeth. Let me see. Aren't you in colorectal surgery? I looked at him doubtfully. You do dentistry too? Don't trust my skills. Ji Shan leaned closer. Open up. I reluctantly opened my mouth. Tisk, that's pretty swollen. Might need pulling. Ji Shan pulled out his phone, scrolled through it, then said, Next Thursday through Saturday. Dr. Zhang from dentistry is on shift. He's good, I know him. Come by when you're free. Give me a heads up. No need to register. My eyes widened. That's great, no registration needed. Ji Shan grinned smugly. See? It pays to have a doctor friend. I nodded in enthusiastic agreement. Xu Qing was discharged from the hospital. His friends and his mother all came together, and we had a meal. Xu Qing was surprisingly much quieter than usual. Maybe because the project he'd been busy with was finally winding down, he was home much more often than before. He'd even go downstairs to buy me breakfast sometimes. When I came home from work and saw the table full of dishes Xu Qing had prepared, along with a cake on the table, I finally remembered it was my birthday. You're back? Xu Qing was holding a package, a rare smile on his lips. He seemed in a good mood. He tore open the package and eagerly showed me what was inside. I unwrapped it. It was a bowl exactly like the red heart one he'd broken before. I looked for a long time before I found one exactly like the old one. I wanted to give it to you earlier, but you were in Shanghai on business, so it got delayed. I was momentarily stunned. I hadn't expected him to take this to heart. You didn't have to buy this. It's just a bowl. It matters. He cut me off, looking at me seriously. This is our first anniversary souvenir. Xu Qing pulled me to the table, made me sit down, stuck candles in the cake, and turned off the lights. In the flickering candlelight, Xu Qing's face looked unexpectedly gentle. Ningning, make a wish. I blew out the candles. The lights came back on. Xu Qing looked at me intently. What did you wish for? I smiled faintly. If I tell you, it won't come true. How do you know it won't come true? Today I can grant your wish. Xu Qing smiled, stood up, walked over to me, pulled a small box from his pocket, and knelt on one knee. Holding out the diamond ring, his eyes seemed to shimmer with starlight. Ningning, marry me. For every single day of these 5 years I had fantasized about this moment. Xu Qing down on one knee, saying, Ningning, marry me. Seeing no reaction from me, Xu Qing's smile deepened. Too happy to think straight. He took the ring from the box, reached for my hand, and prepared to slip it onto my ring finger. You used to always ask when I'd marry you. Ningning, I don't want to wait anymore. Let's get married. The touch of his fingertips snapped me back from my memories. Xu Qing. I pulled him up, a distant smile on my lips. That the wish I made this year was for a promotion and a raise. Xu Qing's eyes widened slightly for a moment, then quickly dimmed. I went to get my tooth pulled on Saturday afternoon. When I saw Jiu Shan, he was about to go into surgery. He frowned at me, looking like he wanted to say something but hesitated. What's with you? You look constipated. Seeing him like that, I couldn't help teasing him. And usually he didn't retort. He thought for a moment, then looked at me gravely. After you get your tooth pulled, wait for me in my office. I'll come find you after surgery. I have something important to tell you. Dr. Zhang was an older physician. As he had me open my mouth, he smiled and asked, You're Zhao Jiu's girlfriend, right? I wanted to say no, but with my mouth open I could only grunt in negation. His smile deepened, the wrinkles on his face creasing. Dr. Zhang was very skilled. From administering the anesthetic to extracting the wisdom tooth, it took only 15 minutes. With gauze clenched between my teeth, I returned to Jiu Shan's office under Dr. Zhang's knowing smile. Sitting in Jiu Shan's office chair, I couldn't help but sigh contentedly. When I got back to the firm, I needed to get a chair like this. It was so comfortable. I hadn't been sitting long when someone knocked on the door. A young man about my age poked his head in. Excuse me, is this Dr. Jiu's office? I grunted. Yes. He asked again. Are you Dr. Jiu? I waved my hand. No. Dr. Jiu is in surgery. I left the dental department around 3 p.m. By the time Jiu Shan came out of surgery, it was already evening. He pushed open the office door, looking tired. Been waiting long? Not long. What did you want to tell me? His expression grew serious again. Instead of answering directly, he asked, You and your boyfriend ... are you close? I was startled. I hadn't expected that question. He continued, Are you planning to get married? I shook my head. Jiang Ning. Ji Shan frowned at me. I don't usually have the right to interfere in your love life. But you're my father's student and my friend. By any measure, I can't just stand by and watch someone play you for a fool. A sense of unease crept through me. I wanted to ask what he meant. Ji Shan poured me a glass of water. Rinse. I took it, rinsed, wiped my mouth, and looked up at him. Senior Ji Shan, what do you mean? Jiang Ning. His gaze seemed reluctant. This morning, I saw your boyfriend coming out of the obstetrics and gynecology department with a woman. The woman seemed very happy. As I passed them, I heard her say she was 2 months pregnant. I looked down, digging my nails into my palms. You couldn't have been mistaken. I was his attending physician. And sure I wasn't mistaken. Was the woman Zhu Rui? I asked quietly, my nose stinging. Hospital regulations forbid disclosing patient information. I don't know her name, but she had curly blonde hair and a mole at the corner of her eye. Xu Qing brought Zhu Rui to the OBGYN. Just 2 days ago, he proposed to me on my birthday. I took a breath, trying to hold back the tears. But with a plop, a big teardrop fell anyway, pathetic as it was. I told Xu Qing we were breaking up, blocked him on all platforms, and moved out of his apartment that very night. Fang Li, without a word, took me to Paris. By the time we got back, over a month had passed. Didn't see much scenery. Fang Li pinched my cheek and sighed. But you sure lost weight. She wandered around my new place. Nice apartment. Who helped you find it? A friend from university. I made the bed and started hanging clothes from my suitcase. It's a bit small, but close to work. Ningning. Fang Li bit her lip, looking at me hesitantly. I didn't tell him. But he sounded really bad. She glanced at me, then carefully ventured. Maybe you should see him. Maybe the thing with Zhu Rui and the baby is a misunderstanding. Li, what did you used to tell me? How many 5-year periods does a person have? I kept hanging clothes. You know how I've been this past month. I hung the last piece and looked up at Fang Li. If I take even one step back towards Xu Qing, I'd be betraying myself, the me who got through this month. After my month-long leave ended, I saw Xu Qing at the entrance of my workplace on my first day back. He looked utterly defeated. His usually neat clothes were wrinkled, his eyes hollow and lifeless, stubble sprouting on his chin. When he saw me, his dull gaze suddenly brightened. Ning. His voice was terribly hoarse, like the sound of withered wood. I walked past him without meeting his eyes. Double quotes, Ning. He called again, reaching out to grab my wrist. Let go. He seemed startled by my voice and immediately released me. I couldn't reach you, so I came to your firm. The receptionist, Feng Dandan, said you were on a month's leave. I thought I'd wait for you here. Xu Qing looked at me anxiously. Ningning, I want to talk to you. There's nothing to talk about between us. Ningning. He instinctively reached for me again, then stopped mid-air and withdrew his hand dejectedly. I can explain. Explain? I laughed coldly, turning to face him. Xu Qing, don't tell me Zhu Rui's baby isn't yours. I'm sorry. Ning. That day I drank too much. I called the wrong person. She came to pick me up. Xu Qing's voice faded. She was wearing the same clothes as you. I thought it was you. Oh. I nodded, expressionless. Are you done? You can go now. Ningning. Xu Qing's head snapped up. His eyes filled with indescribable urgency. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, okay? Looking at his face, I found it utterly ridiculous. Xu Qing, how many times have I forgiven you? Can you still count? There won't be a next time. Can we not break up? Xu Qing, I don't want to hear I'm sorry anymore. I cut him off, exhausted. I don't want to be wronged. I want to be treated right. The foundation of a relationship is trust and loyalty. I've lost trust in you. You've lost loyalty to me. Even if we stayed together, do you think we could pretend this never happened? Women always bring up the past. This will forever be a thorn in my heart. When we fight next, I'll remember this. I'll think you wronged me. And you, every time I bring it up, you'll think, didn't we get past this? Why bring it up again? You'll get annoyed too. Xu Qing, I'll let you go. You let me go too. Okay? Don't come to my work. Don't contact me again. But every single day he sent different flowers. The card always said the same thing. Jiang Ning, forgive me. When I was young, passing by flower shops, I used to beg Xu Qing to buy me flowers. He never agreed back then, just found me clingy. Now, flowers arrived in bunches as if they cost nothing. I threw them in the trash. I had arranged to meet a client at a coffee shop to discuss a case. Unexpectedly, I ran into Ji Shan. He was talking to a beautiful young woman. The woman sitting across from him smiled very gently. Ji Shan noticed me too and nodded slightly. I smiled back and sat down not far from him. After I finished talking with my client and got up to leave, Ji Shan was still sitting there, looking at his phone. The woman was gone. He was probably texting her. A very handsome smile played on his lips. As if sensing my gaze, he looked up. All done? I nodded and walked over to him. Why haven't you left yet? Waiting for you. Waiting for me? I was a bit surprised. You just now ... Not my type, unfortunately. He grabbed his coat and walked out of the coffee shop with me. How have you been lately? I paused, realizing he was asking about Xu Qing. My voice dropped. Okay. He turned to look at me, silent for 2 seconds. You've lost a lot of weight. Your dark circles are terrible. I forced a smile. Looks like my diet's working. Jishan didn't say anything else. He just opened the car door. Get in. I thought he'd take me straight home, but instead we ended up at a small restaurant near our university. I looked at the noodles in my bowl, stirred them a couple of times, and put down my chopsticks, no appetite at all. I remember you used to come to this noodle shop a lot in university. Xu Shan looked at my abandoned chopsticks. No appetite? How do you know I came here a lot? I used to scroll through your moments pretty seriously back in uni. Xu Shan sighed, putting down his chopsticks too. Jiang Ning, I'm not good at comforting people. I remember you in university so lively. Standing on that podium, giving speeches, confident and radiant. The you now. You don't smile much anymore. I twitched the corners of my mouth, trying to muster a smile. That day I was worried about you. I watched your building for a long time. Your light was on all night. A broken heart. ... It hurts that much. A month's worth of suppressed pain burst through the dam. I covered my eyes with my hand, hiding the moisture. Mornings and evenings. They're the hardest. Every morning when I woke up. Every night before I slept. I had to accept it all over again. That Xu Qing no longer belonged to me. Strictly speaking, I've never been through a breakup. Just unrequited love. He paused, changing the subject. Jiang Ning, love shouldn't be the whole of life. I see it more as the icing on the cake. Without love, life should still be vibrant. You should have your own things to do, not be stuck in this state low, gloomy. There are so many beautiful things to experience in life. Seeing scenery. Eating good food. Listening to a concert. Watching a movie. Or ... all quotes. Looking seriously into my eyes. His own seemed to sparkle. He opened his mouth. Or maybe you could ... I looked up at him. The tears in my eyes made him blurry. I rubbed them, and when I could see him clearly again, he'd stopped talking. He reached out and patted my head. It's okay. Breaking up is no big deal. I'll take you home. Jishan dropped me off at my building and watched me go up. The dim hallway lights flickered twice. I pulled out my keys and had just opened the door when a dark figure suddenly rushed towards me. Before I could scream, I was enveloped in a familiar embrace. The strong smell of alcohol and cigarettes hit me. It was Xu Qing. My heart seemed to sting sharply, pierced by a needle. His voice was terribly hoarse. Who was that man downstairs? Let me go. Ningning, I miss you ... He was holding me so tight I could barely breathe. Let me go. Ningning, I was wrong. Zhu Rui aborted the baby. Let's get back together, okay? My heart lurched. But that was your child too. Did you just ... It was a mistake. Xu Qing released me, grabbed my hands and placed them on his chest, gazing at me intensely. I won't have anyone else's child. Only ours. Ningning, let's get married. Let's have our own child, okay? I only felt a chill deep in my heart. I pulled my hands away and shook my head. Xu Qing, we've already broken up. I looked up at him. I think I told you, don't come looking for me again. I'm sorry. I didn't dare go to your firm. You wouldn't see me. Xu Qing stepped back weakly, slumped against the wall and smiled bitterly. I only dared to wait here, outside your new apartment ... I thought we made ourselves clear. I turned to go inside and close the door, but Xu Qing followed me in, blocking the door. The old Jiang Ning, no matter what I did, she forgave me. The old Jiang Ning, her biggest wish was to marry me. The old Jiang Ning, she never rejected me. You said it yourself. That was before. My voice was flat. Xu Qing, people change. Ningning, I really know I was wrong. His voice was soft, a faint light flickering in his eyes. Is it too late for me to come back to you? Do you still love me? Xu Qing, I opened my mouth, but before I could finish, he pulled me close again, rudely cutting me off. If it's not the answer I want, I don't want to hear it. He buried his face deep in my neck. Soon I felt dampness there. His voice was low and rough. Jiangning, I really do love you. Xu Qing ... He was crying. 5 years. Jiangning, 5 years. Over 1,800 days of memories ... How can you just throw it all away? Jiangning, don't give up on me. Give me one more chance. Let me pursue you again, okay? No. The cold voice suddenly came from the direction of the elevator. I instinctively pulled away from Xu Qing's embrace and looked toward the sound. It was Ji Shan. And who do we have here? Xu Qing shifted his gaze to Ji Xian, squinting with a cold laugh. So it's you, Dr. Ji. Ji Shan looked at Xu Qing expressionlessly. Seems like you've recovered well. Thanks to your concern, Dr. Ji. Actually, I owe you, otherwise I wouldn't have healed so fast. Xu Qing walked in front of me, blocking me behind him, and looked at Ji Shan provocatively. Ji Shan chuckled as if he'd heard a joke and shot back without hesitation. If I remember correctly, Mr. Su and my junior sister apprentice have already broken up. I'm here to care about my junior. What business is it of yours? And what exactly gives you the right to say that to me? Xu Qing's face turned livid. Seeing the atmosphere becoming tense, I quickly changed the subject and asked Ji Shan. Senior, didn't you leave? He looked at me, his cold voice softening. I saw your light wasn't on downstairs. I was worried, so I came up to check. Didn't expect you to run into a drunk. Ji Shan, what do you mean by that? Xu Qing's voice rose, clearly angry. Ji Shan curved his lips, waving away the smell of alcohol emanating from Xu Qing, and looked at him lazily. Xu Qing, officially, as your former attending physician, for the sake of your health, I'd advise you not to smoke or drink. Personally, as Jiang Ning's suitor, I hope you drink as much as you want. After all, a perforated ulcer can kill you. You son of a bitch, say that again. Xu Qing suddenly lunged forward, grabbing Ji Shan by the collar and pinning him against the wall. Xu Qing, I'm pursuing Jiang Ning. Ji Shan, pinned to the wall, didn't get angry but smiled instead. We'll compete fairly. Xu Qing, what are you doing? I exclaimed, my brain still processing Ji Shan's pursuing Jiang Ning comment. I instinctively grabbed Xu Qing's arm tightly. Let go of him. Is it because of him, or Zhu Rui? Xu Qing turned his head, red-eyed, and asked me, Jiang Ning, did you break up with me because of him? My eyes widened in disbelief. He was the one who'd gotten involved with Zhu Rui, yet here he was, suspecting that I'd broken up with him because of Ji Shan. I'm the one who likes her. She rejected my pursuit back in university because of you. You betrayed her yourself, and now you're trying to shift the blame onto her. Ji Shan spoke calmly, a mocking smile on his lips. But come to think of it, I should thank you for giving me the chance to pursue Jiang Ning again. Go to hell. Ji Shan's words completely provoked Xu Qing. He raised his fist and swung at Ji Shan's face. I couldn't stop it in time. Ji Shan didn't dodge. Xu Qing's fist slammed into his face. I yanked Xu Qing away and slapped him cleanly across the face. Slap. The crisp sound echoed in the hallway. Xu Qing's eyes flew wide open, his dark pupils staring at me in disbelief. Ningning, you ... hit me for him. My hand was slightly numb from the force. I clenched my fist and looked up to meet Xu Qing's eyes. Xu Qing, this slap is for you betraying our 5 years. Xu Qing. I held back the sting in my nose and the tears in my eyes. I never want to see you again. I pulled Jihan into the room and slammed the door shut, leaving Xu Qing outside. I buried my head in my arms. Only when the knocking outside stopped did my tears cease. Are you ... okay? I gently dabbed at the wound on Jishan's lip with an alcohol swab. He hissed softly in pain. I'm sorry. I didn't expect him to hit you. It's not your fault. He was about to say something when his gaze was drawn to something on the table. He stood up, and I followed his gaze, alcohol swab still in hand, frozen. On the table was that book, General Introduction to Civil Law, which I'd taken from the bookshelf recently. I didn't expect you to still have this book. Jishan took the book and sat back down on the sofa beside me. He gently touched the poem he'd written on the flyleaf. It's been so many years. He turned to look at me, his dark pupils reflecting my faint image. Jiang Ning, my feelings are still the same as before. I froze, staring at him in shock. He reached out, gently wiping away the tear stains at the corner of my eye with his thumb, and gazed at me intently. Jiang Ning, from the moment I saw you again at the hospital, I realized my feelings for you over these years have never changed. I didn't want to disturb you originally. Jiang Ning, I admit I'm selfish. The moment I found out he betrayed you, I actually felt secretly delighted. I had another chance to pursue you. I originally planned to wait until you'd sorted out your feelings before expressing mine. I didn't want to take advantage of your vulnerability. He lowered his hand and revealed a handsome smile. My brain completely short-circuited. Senior, I'm currently ... I know what you're going to say. And I know you'll reject me. Jishan's smile didn't waver. I know this isn't the right time to say this, but I can wait until you've sorted out your feelings. Jiang Ning, consider me. When Zhu Rui stormed up to the 16th floor, I had just come out of the break room with my coffee. Feng Dandan from the front desk was following behind Zhu Rui, out of breath. When Feng Dandan saw me, she said pitifully, Sister Ning, she barged in. I couldn't stop her ... It's okay, go ahead. Feng Dandan nodded and retreated. I put my coffee on the table and appraised Zhu Rui. She didn't look well, probably pale from the abortion. She slapped a document down in front of me and said hostilely, Jiang Ning, what's the meaning of this? I picked up a document. It was the court judgment for Zhu Rui's divorce case. I didn't realize the lawsuit had already concluded. I flipped to the last page. The judgment clearly stated, all claims of the plaintiff, Zhu Rui, are dismissed. In other words, Zhu Rui had lost her divorce case. Senior Zhu. I put down the document and explained to her. Losing a case is normal. No lawyer can guarantee a 100% success rate. Zhu Rui laughed coldly. A simple divorce case actually lost under Lawyer Jiang's watch. How utterly bewildering. My eyebrow twitched. Obviously, she was here to pick a fight. Lawyers aren't omnipotent. Neither am I. Suppressing my impatience, I said flatly, if you came here for this, you can leave now. My time is valuable. She ignored my dismissal and looked at me contemptuously, smiling slightly. Of course, that's not the only reason. She smiled coyly. Xu Qing said that only when he's with me does he remember the beauty of when we first gave ourselves to each other. I thought my heart had become impervious to waves, but after hearing Zhu Rui's words, it ached fiercely. Who could forget the person they gave themselves to in their youth? And now, Zhu Rui was using this to humiliate me. I snapped out of my reverie, pressed my hand against my slightly tight chest, and forced a smile. Is that so? I heard you were pregnant. He even went with you for your prenatal checkup. But Xu Qing told me he'd have you abort the child. He begged me on his knees not to break up. But considering the child in your belly, I didn't agree. Knowing she'd already had the abortion, I chuckled. When you give birth, be sure to let me know. I'll come to the celebration. Zhu Rui flew into a rage. She grabbed the potted plant from my desk and hurled it at me. I felt a sharp pain on my forehead. I instinctively reached up to cover the wound. Then, warm liquid trickled down my forehead and into my eyes. My right vision instantly blurred. My colleagues outside screamed in shock. Mild concussion. The external wound has been stitched. Change the dressing every 2 days. The bespectacled doctor snapped the case file shut. Avoid using your brain for the next couple of days. Get plenty of rest. After seeing the ER doctor out, Jishan frowned at me. Awake? How did this happen? I gave him a brief rundown. Damn, that woman is crazy. Jishan was speechless. Never thought lawyering was such a high-risk profession. Xu Qing's pretty stupid too. He muttered quietly, then sat by my bed and gently touched my bandaged forehead. Does it hurt? I glanced at him sideways. Bro, want to give it a try? Still able to joke? Guess your brain isn't damaged. Jishan chuckled. What do you want to eat? I'll buy it. My head was throbbing and dizzy, probably the concussion aftermath. I had no appetite. Not hungry. Since you're not hungry, get some sleep. Don't worry about Zhu Rui. I'll handle it for you. Jishan tucked the blanket around me. You just lie here and recover these next couple of days. How will you handle it? I looked up at him. I'll help you file a lawsuit. But I'm a lawyer. I widened my eyes at him. This is my specialty. He smiled. I know you're a specialist. Are you the only lawyer around? I'll contact your colleague to handle it. Look at you now, head wrapped up like a zongzi. You should be worrying about whether you'll have scars. Huh. My face immediately fell. I'm not going to end up unmarried, am I? What are you afraid of? You've got me. Jishan reached over and pinched my cheek, looking left and right. Not bad. A bit haggard, but I don't mind. Stop teasing me, Senior G. I was feeling dizzy. I want to sleep. Okay, sleep. I'll come back later. I slept till the world was dark. When I woke up, stars were twinkling outside the window. I rubbed my eyes, adjusting to the darkness, and propped myself up to sit. That's when I noticed a figure in the room, Xu Qing. He seemed to have been staring out the window, lost in thought. Hearing my movement, he immediately turned. In the dark, I couldn't see his expression, only his very bright eyes. You're awake. He walked over, switched on the small lamp by the bed, and stared straight at me. Now I could see him clearly. His clothes were fairly neat, but his face was gaunt. His deep eyes, which I'd once loved most, were bloodshot. Why are you here? I sat up. He immediately and considerately raised the bed and placed a pillow behind me. After your incident, that Xiao Feng from your office called me ... He paused, then explained, your emergency contact in your phone is me ... Oh, I responded, instinctively reaching for my phone to change the emergency contact to my parents. Ningning. About this matter ... He clenched his fist, his thumb unconsciously rubbing his middle finger. His nervous habit. About this matter, I didn't handle it well. I didn't expect Zhu Rui to go to your firm and hurt you. I'm sorry. I promise she won't appear before you again. Are you done? I looked at him expressionlessly. I'll handle the Zhu Rui matter through legal channels. No need for your concern. Ningning. He frowned, deep guilt in his eyes. I've done many things to wrong you. I've always wanted to apologize ... I don't accept your apology. I fiddled with my phone, not looking at him. You can go. Ning. ... He started to say something, but the door suddenly opened. A nurse pushed a cart in. Jiang Ning and bed 28, time for your injection. As the nurse was about to insert the needle into the vein on the back of my hand, Xu Qing suddenly spoke. Please be gentle. She's afraid of pain ... The nurse looked ambiguously at me, then at him, deftly inserted the needle, and left the room. The room fell into dead silence. I looked up from my phone at his uneasy, forlorn expression, and finally couldn't bear it. Xu Qing, we've been together for quite a few years, haven't we? A flicker of light flashed in his eyes. 5 years and 4 months. I spoke slowly. After we broke up, I was depressed for a while. Then I returned to my old self. I finally understood that losing is more reassuring than having. Those days of crying and heartache over you, of sleepless nights, they'll never come back. You've been seeking my forgiveness. I smiled faintly. Forgive you? No, Xu Qing. Do you know what forgiving you means? It means giving you the power to hurt me again. No, Ningning. I'll never. Xu Qing started to contradict me, but I cut him off. But I don't believe you anymore. Those days and nights of tears and drunkenness, I never want to experience them again. Xu Qing, I'm really tired. I said flatly. That's it. Let's not see each other again. He was silent for a long time. Finally, he walked over, tucked the blanket around me, and reached out to touch my face. I instinctively turned away, avoiding his touch. Xu Qing's eyes were desolate. He took a long look at me, as if with infinite reluctance. I'm leaving. You. Take care of yourself. I never expected that to be my last words to Xu Qing. Even less did I expect my words to become a prophecy. When Jiu Zhao called me, I was in court. I instinctively hung up, but he persistently called again and again. After 4 or 5 calls, my phone finally went silent. But for some reason, I felt inexplicably uneasy. I was about to text Jiu Xiao to ask what was up when a message came through first. Sister Ning, Qingzhe had an accident on a business trip. My heart felt as if it had been stabbed. In a daze, my phone slipped from my hand. At Xu Qing's funeral, his mother, red-eyed, gave me his last belongings. I opened the scorched notebook. Inside was a photo of my university ID card. I was smiling brightly back then. On the last page of Xu Qing's notebook he had written, May 21st. Ningning used to love clinging to me on this day. Ningning, I remember you loving me. Or maybe I remembered it wrong. Jiang Ning, I love you. After Xu Qing died, I received a large sum of compensation. Only then did I vaguely remember. In the early days of his business, he often worked late and traveled. I had once bought him personal accident insurance. I transferred the entire compensation untouched to Xu Qing's parents. Zhu Rui was sentenced to 15 days of detention, then paid me compensation and left the city. After Xu Qing's accident, Jishan knew I was feeling low and stayed by my side. A year later, the law firm I worked at expanded and opened a branch in a city. As a senior partner, I settled in the city. After work, I stood at a busy intersection, waiting for the traffic light. My phone suddenly vibrated. I answered. It was Jishan. Laoya Jiang. How's the city? Adapting well? I wonder if you'd welcome an uninvited guest like me. You're in a city? The voice on the phone was cheerful. Look up. I paused, then looked up. Across the traffic flow, on the other side of the road, Jishan was holding my favorite snacks and smiling at me. My heart, frozen for a year, seemed to crack. I unconsciously curved my lips into a smile. You smiled. Jishan looked at me, beaming. Be careful, Laoya Jiang. I'm about to walk into your heart. At that moment, the green light came on. I watched Jishan walk toward me, step by step, through the crowd. I hung up and gently took his outstretched hand. Dr. Ji Yu, a warm welcome.